but it was like I liked doing it. I liked that rigid paranoia, and I would even do things like smoke pot.
Hey guys, our decline here, average picker. So let's just start this video with a little congratulations to Chris, aka Lockpicking Heaven's Gate, for his Bowley pick. So, yay! So yeah, congratulations, man. That was just incredible to watch, and you did an awesome job on that. So, sorry, that was the best celebration I could throw you. I had a sparkler, and I was very quickly told, not in the house. So yeah, there's that. I'll put a link to it and to his channel. You should definitely check him out. But yeah, that was just amazing, dude. Again, so congrats. Okay, so if you're noticing a lighting change or setting change or something, that's because this is actually a redo of yesterday. I was trying to film this, and I just kept getting interrupted. The phone kept ringing, and people kept coming over and stuff. So I decided just to do a reshoot. So last week I was going to start kind of doing some frequently asked questions that I get from non-pickers as well as beginning pickers, and I decided to kind of put that off for a while. However, I guess the last few days some stuff didn't arrive that I was expecting, and I just decided, let's go ahead and do one of these, because in the last several days some things have happened, and I thought this one would be at least a little timely. I'm going to wrap this in the disclaimer that, remember, I am the average picker, so I'm not making any great claims or stakes on myself, nor am I knocking anybody else's abilities or anything like that. This is just what my perception is of this at this moment. But the question I get asked quite a bit, mostly by people who are just starting out, is also from non-lockpicking people, is basically boils down to, are challenge locks challenging? And the answer to that really is kind of a yes and a no, and a maybe. It depends on the lock and who made it and what lock it's based on and how well they did making it. And it also depends on the picker. A lock for me that is challenging, such as this one that I've been picking on what feels like forever now, may not be challenging for you at all, So yeah, it really just depends. I think newer pickers ask because, they've probably gotten a little interested in lock picking from watching YouTube videos and stuff. And it creates this perception that challenge locks are somehow the pinnacle of picking or something. Like you've people doing challenge locks are just, you've picked everything else. So, it's almost like the old Dungeons and Dragons stuff, when they came out with the box sets. I'm going to show my age here, and they had basic, expert, and then they had the advanced books, and you thought, I'm supposed to buy basic and expert and advanced, and it was like, no. Basic and expert were just, advanced, simplified, to sell you the same product several times. It wasn't like advanced was actually more advanced. It's kind of like that. So, some people like picking challenge locks. Some people don't. I enjoy it. I think it's just a neat way to just pick on some bizarre things that, you're not going to probably ever see in the wild. But if you're a new picker and you're curious about it, I would say, definitely go for it. But, understand it doesn't mean it's not the pinnacle tippy top of picking. I got my first one probably before I should have. I was still, I mean, I still am very new to this. But when I got my first one, I was really, really new. But I picked it, and I was absolutely ecstatic. I mean, it was just great. And in my mind, it kind of translated to, wow, I'm picking challenge locks now. I'm just like the people on YouTube, you know. And then I very quickly learned, no, it just depends on the lock. Not all challenge locks are created equal. And yeah. Now, riding along with that question, I usually kind of, is usually what is a challenge lock? To me, it's pretty simple as far as what is a challenge lock. A challenge lock is just a lock that's been modified by somebody from its original, manufacturing specs, which theoretically is going to be harder to pick, hopefully. Maybe not, though. You can take, especially a good core, and it's very easy to make that lock, actually, if you screw it up, to make it easier than what it might have been. But yeah, so all I look for is that, has the lock been modified? Does the key work? And does the lock turn? That, to me, pretty much makes it a challenge lock. Big bonus points if the lock if the lock works smoothly. Though I never expect that. You expect challenge locks to be kind of a little rough. I just think of them as like labors of love. Sort of a rough proof of concept or prototype of just some kind of odd test, or just a lock that, it's kind of for fun, has a bit of a sense of humor or something about it. Making them as well as picking them, I guess. They do provide, I think, a way to get like sort of a deeper understanding, I guess, of how a lock works. And get kind of hands-on with pin interaction and shear lines and things like that. So from a learning perspective, I think they're really good, and you should try making one. And I think if you're a picker and you're just starting out and you're not sure, go for it. Get out there and try to get one from somebody and give it a try and see if you like it. Like I said, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but some people like them. Now, with what qualifies for a challenge lock, I mean, like I said, I make it pretty basic. The way I came up learning it about them was just, does it have a key, and does the key work, and does the lock turn? I think there's a little bit of gray area in there. So I think there are some exceptions. Like if the lock has a pin trap built into it that's designed to brick the lock, questionably that becomes a challenge lock to me. If the key can recover the lock from some kind of pin trap, then I'm down with it. I think you've built a challenge lock. If the key cannot recover the lock from a pin trap, like it's just absolutely a bricked lock, at that point I think we can start to maybe question it a little bit. The other one is, the other kind of gray area I think is, does the lock only work some of the time? I've had a few come across my picking that they don't work that well. They do only work maybe 50% of the time or a quarter of the time. You end up having to shake the lock or tap it or bang on it. Sometimes the key doesn't go in or go all the way in. You end up having to flip the lock and kind of shake on it and then jam the key inside. That to me is getting a little bit questionable. I mean, that's typically a result of build quality, at least from what I've seen. But that to me just starts to get a little iffy. So the reason I decided though to do this video, just kind of basically saying, yeah, give challenge locks a try. If you're a new picker, go for it. You know, it's interesting. You may like it, you may not. Was that recently some video came up kind of questioning, I guess, the validity of a certain lock, if it was a challenge lock or not, because the key cuts were well beyond the kind of Mac, and they were well into the key. I mean, you know, it was cut, you know, very, very deeply down towards the bottom of the key. And people were saying, yes, that is. No, it's not. I mean, to me, it is. I'm not too concerned. Most challenge locks are not practical for production. You know, either due to just like the time and cost that it would take to make them, or durability, or just the convenience of trying to use it. I mean, you don't want to sell a lock where you have to sit there and pound the key in and try to, you know, turn it around a whole bunch of times. That just wouldn't work. But like I said, I sort of see them as rough proofs of concept. So from a challenge, just send it to me, I'll try to pick it perspective. You know, just because the durability or reliability is affected, I don't think that automatically disqualifies it. I mean, that's stuff that could be gotten around anyway. I also think just because I can't do it, or I don't have the tools to do it, means that it's not legitimate, right? Oh, that was, hold on. Nope. That's my shortcoming, right? But it's because we get all these different designs, and even manufacturers try different things. You know, it's how we have such an array of tools at our disposal now. You know, if we started saying, well, that counts, this doesn't count, or it only counts if I can pick it with this pick, or with this set of picks, or with what these tools are that I have, you know, you wouldn't. It would just become boring. It's supposed to be if I can't pick it, I can't pick it. I'm not looking for a challenge lock that's a moderate challenge in relation to my ability or tools, but able to be done by me at that moment. You know, that's not a challenge. Actually, I enjoy a lock I can't pick. I don't know why. So yeah, you know, then there's the argument some people were making, I guess, or that was being made, was that, well, everybody would just copy that, and then challenge locks will become boring. No, you know, I don't think that's the case at all. If everybody starts copying something like just a super deep key cut, you know, we'll just develop tools and techniques for dealing with it. I mean, that's what we do. We have adapted. Look at me using we like I've been doing this a long time. The lockpicking community will adapt, right? Like I at the beginning of this video, you know, hats off again to Chris. You know, he just picked the Bowley lock. You know, everyone's not running out and copying that. You know, Chris and other people, you know, they were studying it and they adapted and developed techniques for dealing with it. And that's what will happen. No challenge lock is going to all of a sudden cause everyone to start doing one thing. You know, if we look, oh gosh, what was that one? There's one semi-recently-ish. The guy had used like a necklace balls that were strung together. I think it was called Luca's Balls challenge lock. It was on, I think, Bill's channel. You know, that one was a whip. For him anyway. I think it later went on to get picked. But everybody didn't see that and start going, oh, that's it, I'm putting, you know, chain balls into my locks instead of pins. You know, it just didn't happen. And I mean, that arguably is a by far easier thing to do than to get a really deep key cut working. You know, you stick that key cut like that in the wrong place, and it's just not gonna, it's probably not gonna work. You know, it's not the toughest modification, but compared to taking you know, a chain or a necklace and cutting it and dropping it into the lock, it is more complicated, I think. But everybody didn't run out and start doing that. So yeah, I say, you know, just keep making the stuff. You know, as long as it functions as a lock, you're good. And if you're just getting started in picking, and you know, you're thinking about challenge locks, or you think, oh, I'm not up to the task yet of a challenge lock, you know, give it a try. You know, get a hold of one, even if it is beyond your ability at that point. I mean, the art I picked on the art for months because I had it was way too hard of a lock for me at the time. You know, and now I can sit down and get it popped open, you know, with a few resets, all jokes aside. So, you know, it'll help you kind of grow as a picker. And if you decide, oh, I don't like picking them, you know, don't worry about it. But by all means, give it a try if you want to. Also, though, you know, and like I said, keep in mind, though, that it's not the top of the picking chain, right? There is something about challenge locks that feels a little bit like becoming a trick shootist, or doing, you know, some kind of trick or something. So they're impressive, they're neat. You can really, getting them open is still worth it. Congratulations, but it does feel like it's a little bit different of a beast than working on like a manufacturer lock or something, especially a really hard one. It's just kind of it's almost like a little subset of its own. I think, you know, you can be really good at picking challenge locks and maybe not so good at some other stuff. And just because of the variance in them, it looks like, I think, and makes you feel like you might be a better picker than you are. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Take them for what they are. Get a few, enjoy it, and, you know, see if you like it and if it's something you want to keep picking on. So, yeah, that is my thoughts and my answers about challenge locks at the moment. So, anyway, guys, one of these days, this is going to get open. I don't know why this thing's kicking my butt so much. I'm probably going to have to step away from it for a little bit and go back. I find I pick too much on one lock. I end up hitting a dead end. I need to go and pick something else and come back to it, and we'll see what happens. All right, until next time, laters.